In this video, you guys are going to be staring at a Glock 23 Gen 4 while I talk. So yes, I got a Glock 23 Gen 4. So, this is going to be my exclusive gun. This is going to be my concealed carry gun and my LARPing gun. Yes, because I test gear. I'm currently working on things like Alice gear and working with body armor and other gear as well. So, yes, I basically have to LARP in order to test it properly. So, with all that said, this is going to be my exclusive gun. I am pretty much done with testing all other stuff. So this is going to be my exclusive test, and I know some people are cherishing the fact that I actually have a Glock, and they kind of feel like winners because finally I converted, right? Well, I know that's probably the way Chook feels from Chook's Outdoor Adventures, because he'd been breathing down my neck for a while. Yeah, I should just get a Glock perfection and all that stuff. Well, that was one of the reasons why I actually got this, and I was also talking to one of my buddies that I actually served with, who went to a Glock himself. We'd been talking about guns here and there, and just figured, you know what, this would be a good opportunity to actually test Glock in the 40 caliber cartridge, and not in the Gen 3, not in the Gen 2, but in the generation that actually started claiming that they had fixed the problems that Glock has had with the 40, i.e. out of battery detonations and all that other stuff. So that's why I got a Gen 4. The Gen 20, or the Glock 23, the Model 23, is because I want something that I can carry concealed, and I can have a good capacity, and I can also, it's also a good size for actual quote-unquote combat applications. So it's something that I can actually use, and it should be a good all-around pistol, right? Because if I'm going to be using it for concealed carry and my LARPing, it needs to be a good, middle of the road size. So it's about time that I test it. I know a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just get a 9mm 19 or whatever? Well, I already explained. And I want to see if they actually did fix the 40 caliber issues. My experience with the Glock 23 has mostly been with the Gen 3s. My Gen 4 experience was not all that great, but that was early Gen 4s. And also, my experience with the Gen 4s was mostly full-size pistols, but I did have problems with pins walking out in my Glock 23s. They had problems feeding anything that was too heavy, like 180 grain ammunition, and anything that had too fat of a nose. If the flat point was too wide, and it just wouldn't feed. So I needed to find something like 165s or something like that, or if it was a 180, it needed to be really sharp, kind of like critical defense. How the critical defense has a very sharp nose. I needed to find 180 grains that were like that had a very pointed nose, almost like a round nose 40. But that was basically the only way that I could actually get some good reliability out of it. So I'm going to test that. So this is going to be my exclusive gun, and yes, I've been pestered and stuff like that, but I figured that this is a good opportunity for me to actually test it. I will be recording on video, and I will be doing some blog articles about it, and this is going to allow me to test some other things like ETS mags, and which do have 40 caliber mags for this firearm, which do seem interesting. They're very inexpensive, and people are raving about their quality. So we are going to actually put that to the test. Modifications, I do not actually intend to do much more modifications at this time than the sights and maybe testing the ETS magazines pretty much right away. So I'm going to be putting this through exclusive testing, a variable set of tests, and yeah, I mean, people will buy a Glock just because of the name, and there hasn't been very many good tests. The last person who actually did a very good test, a durability test, was Todd Green before he passed, and he did it on the Glock 17 Gen 4, and that thing was riddled with malfunctions and breakages. It basically limped its way to its round count. It was not the epitome of reliability, so it actually performed much more poorly than the MMP. So, and that was an early generation MMP. So, with that said, I am going to be doing my own testing, and yes, 40 caliber should be hammering this thing more, and it's a 23, so I am losing a half inch, and so I'm having less mass to kind of resist the forces. So we're going to be seeing how that takes effect on the pistol, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But I would love to see if Glock would actually help me out here if I do actually crack a slide or whatever from actually using their gun. But we'll see. Last time I actually had any service with Glock, they basically gave me the middle finger when my Glock 21 actually had a broken extractor. So instead of replacing the parts, they just said, just go ahead and buy a new one because they're so inexpensive. I don't know why, but that was my experience. So with all that said, I'll just go ahead and cut it short here before I get to the point of babbling aimlessly. So I appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and leave a comment below, and you guys have a good one.